Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I have to tell you, it's your fault. The movie The Odyssey is not even released yet, and yet it's your fault that it's about to fail. Or at least it's about to have some trouble overcoming a lot of negative and a lot of objections that fans have to the recent trailer drop. In fact, just July 4th, we started to take note of the substantial dip in interest in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, for good reason. They have a incredibly miscast cast. They have a lot of terrible press junket conversations. And then they have, just a lot of politics inserted into something that doesn't look like it came from the dawn of Western civilization, which, let's face it, after 3 millennia, or nearly 3 millennia, that's kind of what these stories are all about. From the beginning of civilization to this point in time, maybe we should be paying attention. But we got to talk about it, so remember, it's your fault. Here we go. Yet, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I'm trying to get to 50K. With your kind indulgence, I can, which means double check you're still subscribed. If not, click the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, double check that you have all notifications turned on, and then hit the thumbs up button. Those 3 things alone do an awful lot. Plus, if you watch another video after you watch this video, another one of my videos, it will really help as well. And of course, comment at the end, because I want to hear what you have to think. Because we talked about this story just a few days ago. Fans are being blamed for the Odyssey backlash as the trailer dislikes hit 350K. Well, it's way more than that. Now, how much more? As of July 6th, the dislikes have climbed past 500,000, and Universal has now locked replies on the Odyssey and premiere photos posted on the official X account. Elon Musk also called Nolan a worm, which isn't a good thing. And the Odyssey doesn't open for another 2 weeks. Well, is it that long? I think it's the 17th. Yeah, we're closing in on it. Anyway, the blame game's already started. Is that a surprise? Maybe not. I mean, when you start to see these kinds of things happening in the background, they're not occurring in a vacuum. In fact, I do a lot of research to take a look at what is happening in the broader market view, and World of Real actually follows up the story we just covered with this. This is over at World of Real. Jordan Rumi writes, "The Odyssey's interest is down. Latest claims, but reviews can change everything." And while that was true all the way back on May 26th, as we get closer, there are some disturbing numbers that I'd be freaking out about if I were Christopher Nolan. According to Cosmic Book News, the rating bombing excuse has arrived early, which it did. They're already basically tracking the targeting services like Box Office Theory as well. The trailer reaction this week is, well, quite mind-blowing if you look at it. And you can't help but laugh, according to Matt McGloin. But the report in the trailer released mostly positive reactions and initial scores, which was an outright lie. I've kind of feel bad about Robbins getting drawn into this, because really he does a good job with the numbers usually, and we don't really have a lot of problems with what he does. But the same report also notes that pre-sales remain dominated by IMAX and premium screens. The PLFs is a polite way to say that well, those are going to be the audiences that roll in like Oppenheimer, and this may suffer a little bit of the Oppenheimer effect, which means it sells out on the big 70-millimeter screens, which there's only about 70 or 80 of those in the world, and it doesn't do anything beyond that. The regular theaters suffer, but the IMAX viewings go up. Is that something that happens regularly? It seems like. But again, this is also going to be heavily front-loaded to avoid spoilers. I don't know how you spoil the Odyssey or the Iliad, but maybe you do. The comments about all of this is it really telling a different tale. The people who are commenting on Helen of Detroit and anything else is, well, it isn't good. In fact, a comment on the trailer, which we'll highlight here, says, Lupita Nyong'o's Helen of Troy casting with the "Look at me, I'm the Helen now" has over 10,000 likes. And right below it, it says the face that emptying of the 1,000 seats sits at 19,000. These aren't bots talking to each other. These are actual people. Tracking has showed audience interest plummeting over the casting controversy weeks ago, and Universal skipped influencer screenings. A rating bombing campaign didn't produce weeks of soft data. Audiences did. And again, I use the quorum numbers pretty regularly, and intent to see has dropped catastrophically. In fact, you had an interest number that fell off a cliff despite the awareness number staying rather high. In fact, it equals Supergirl's interest level going into about the same period in time before its release. That number is not a positive indication for Universal and for Christopher Nolan or for this movie. It's something that's very much against it. And if this all seems familiar, it should. It's the same kind of marketing spin that we saw from Supergirl. The industry line was that women stayed home and fans were to blame. Well, you're going to get something similar around the choices made by this particular director/writer, using Emily Wilson's feminist translation of the world-famous piece of literature. It's part of a pattern that obviously Cosmic Book News has documented with franchises. When the audience says no, Hollywood blames them. Well, wait a minute. Hollywood, you made the movie. You gave Christopher Nolan the money to make the movie. You had investors invested in it. There's a lot of similar timing to the reactions here, and Supergirl excuses came after the box office verdict, but the audience excuses are being drafted before the movie is sold an opening day ticket, beyond the pre-sales, of course. Now, the narrative insurance is being written in advance so that when the film underperforms against its $80 million to $100 million opening tracking, the reported $250 million budget will not look quite as bad. There's a lot of money spent on this film. There's a ton of money spent on marketing. And the argument all along will be, it wasn't the casting, it was the fans. Well, tell me, who are the fans of Homer's The Odyssey? It certainly isn't the current generation of youth. It has to come from somebody college age or older. And to be fair, even Lupita Nyong'o, who's a Harvard graduate, hasn't even read The Odyssey or the Iliad. So let me tell you something. Maybe they don't know who this film is for.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spent with them?
Officially, the verdict comes July 17th. Per the same tracking report, critical social reactions arrive Monday, July 6th, with the full review embargo lifting on the 15th. That's never a good sign. In fact, it's an awful sign. It means they don't have faith in this. And the press junket has been pure garbage starting, Monday, today that I'm recording this.
When you read the Iliad and the Odyssey, very little time is spent in the perspective of the women.
Right.
Right? It's told from a very masculine side of things. Right. But this film takes takes time to really consider things from the female perspective.
And it's not going to get better. It has a worldwide rollout in multiple theaters as it premieres in different markets. I think it starts in London on the 6th and moves forward from there. The problem is that unlike the rollout that was used effectively by Universal for Oppenheimer, this won't be that. This will be something else entirely. And there's a big question on this one. Is The Odyssey going to be a good movie? My expectation is no. But great reviews were never the question, because there are going to be some. The regular shill sites will be out there shilling for the film. The question is whether the general audience that tracking says checked out over the casting shows up anyway. There are a lot of people out there that are going to go see a Nolan movie because it was a Nolan movie, not because it was definitely going to be good. I mean, look at Tenet. A lot of people showed up for that, and it was absolutely terrible. But dismissing the original 337,000 dislikes, now over 550,000, I would say there isn't a review bombing here. There is a awareness here, and it's mostly negative. Why? Because 10% of the people who have viewed the trailer, the final countdown trailer, have weighed in. And normally that doesn't happen. And normally it's not this negative. And yet it is in a 5-to-1 ratio right now. Again, you can go look at this story over at Cosmic Book News and all of its updates. In fact, it has a couple of them embedded here with various numbers popping out at you. But when you look at the update from the 6th, climbing past 500,000, by the time you look at this right now, it's probably far worse on the about 5 million views. Hard to say, but let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Just maybe not at a bad movie like what it might be the Odyssey is.